Do you feel immobilized by all the things that you cannot do? Do you go through your social media feed and feel powerless to change the things that really hit you in the heart? I want to talk about what you can do. It is so easy to get caught up in all the big things that we can't seem to touch, that where we can't go out and make an impact. Yes, some people can, but a lot of times there is nothing directly that feels like action that we can take to alleviate some of the big things that are going on in our world. And focusing on that makes us feel powerless, inert, and it creates a sense of powerlessness. Yeah, powerless. We're powerless to do anything, which is depressing and difficult and challenging. And in the overwhelm of our powerlessness to change certain things, it is very easy to forget that there is a world directly around us that we can impact, that we can make a difference in. And the difference that we make is by showing up and being present and doing what we do. What do I mean by that? I'm going to give you a couple of examples. I used to work in downtown Portland. And in the place that I worked, there was a huge homeless population. Now, we were always told by the company that I worked for, don't engage with homeless people, don't talk to them. If you see them coming across the street, there's all this heightened sense of danger. And I was never the person to do that. I was always the one who, I'm walking down the street, I'm looking people in the eyes, I'm sitting down on a bench, I'm talking to them. That's me. That's me showing up as me. It may not be you, and that's okay. That's not the point of the story. But that's me following my heart, my gift, the divine flow of God outwards around me. And I used to take the bus. And initially, when I took the bus stop was here, work was across the street. So I'd get off the bus, go to work. Very little contact with anybody that I didn't work with. But they started doing construction in the area where the bus stop was, so the bus stop was moved, and it was moved 5 or 6 blocks away. Not that bad, not a big walk, but it gave me an opportunity to engage. And at that time, as early as I went to work in the morning, engagement usually meant if somebody was awake, I made eye contact and smiled. And it was always a point I made to make eye contact. I didn't just walk down the street smiling, although I was, but if I saw someone, I tried to make eye contact, even if they would look away. And even if they looked away every time, I still tried to make eye contact so that they could see that I saw them. And that's just my heart. That is something that I do. And I did the same on the way from work to the bus stop. So everywhere I went, it was just, I didn't care. Homeless, not homeless. Did you look professional? Did you look disheveled? Didn't matter to me. Still doesn't matter to me. I will still smile. I will still acknowledge your existence. I will still make eye contact with you because I want you to feel seen. And one day I was running late. I knew I was going to miss the bus. But I was still making eye contact and smiling. I was just moving a lot faster. And that's the day this gentleman steps out of a doorway and says, wait, ma'am. And I'm like, oh crap, I'm going to be late. I'm going to miss my bus. And it was like an hour to the next bus. And I was like, ugh. But I stopped. And I stopped because that was my heart. And he was important. I didn't know who he was. I just knew that someone was trying to get my attention. And so I stopped and I turned and he goes, ma'am, I just have to know your name. And I told him, I said, my name's Anysia. And I said, what's yours? And he told me his name was Leonard. And he said, every day you walk by, you look me in the eyes and you smile. And I have to tell you, you've changed my life. Now inside I'm thinking, how could I have changed your life? All I did was smile. I didn't give you a meal. I didn't give you money. I didn't give you anything. And he said, you reminded me that I am seen, that I'm not invisible. You are the only person of all the people who walk by that looks me in the eyes and sees a man. And I want to thank you for that, because it changed everything. I look forward to you walking by and smiling. And we talked about his story and those kinds of things. And yeah, I missed the bus. But you know what? I didn't care. Because right then, what God was giving me, he was telling me, Anysia, you make a difference just by being you. Just by being present in your surroundings. The gift of your presence, you being you, without holding back, without metering it out, just looking someone in the eyes and smiling, has given joy and purpose and value to someone who wasn't getting it somewhere else. You changed a life. And that was what the gift God gave me, showing me the value of my personal presence. And you know, the funny thing is, I never saw him again. Yeah, I have a friend who passed away in January 2020. And she used to send cards. Extreme introvert. So I'm an extrovert, she's an introvert. I'll tell a story about that later. But she loved sending people cards, and I loved going to the mail as her friend, because every now and then there was just a card there, and it was a regular card, handwritten. And there was always just a scripture or a, I'm thinking about you today, here's what I'm thinking. Here's what I remembered today thinking about you. And those were precious. At her funeral, almost everybody who got up and talked about her talked about the cards that she sent and the impact they made on her life. I guarantee you, she did not know. I promise that she had no clue it was a big deal. I know this because whenever I told her, this makes a difference to me. You brightened my day. Your card came at just the right time to change something. I wish I could be like you and send cards. I have all the greatest intentions and it bores me out of my mind. And I don't do it. Or I'll fill out a card and then not go to the mail. Card sending is not my thing. I'll shoot off an email or an encouraging text. But the card thing, it's just not me. But it was her. And she did that and she changed people's lives. What is your thing? That's what I want to get to today. What is your thing? How can you impact your world and your sphere of influence? Okay, maybe you can't change all the big things out here that tug on your heart. But what do you do? What is the power of your presence in your sphere of influence? How do you show up? I want to encourage you to think about it and to understand that it's not always the huge acts of service that make the biggest difference. It's just you showing up as you, doing what you do naturally. That's what people need. That's what your sphere of influence needs. If there is only one person that you're seeing right now in your life, there is something that you do that makes their life better. Don't withhold that. Show up. Man, if your thing is prayer, pray. If your thing is sending cards, send cards. If you smile and encourage and send texts, do that. Don't stop doing it because you're so overwhelmed by all the things you can't do that you forget to just be you and be present in your world, in your situation, in the lives of your people.